Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and welcome on a silver squeeze, March 31st. We're here to talk about solutions. Your buddy and mine, I am for I am, is here. He's bringing solutions, and he thinks the government has one for us. So we will. I hope you can join us in the live chat. There's always great commentary there. And if you're watching this later, leave a comment below. But most of all, give us a like, share, and subscribe to this video. Let's get started and see what those solutions are right after this. Welcome, O great and wise emperor. I'm so excited.
Hello. How's it going, everybody?
It's going well. It's going well. It's a little disappointed to see that silver was down, but not surprised. You know, VIX tells us all it takes is a click of the mouse. They are still in control of the COMEX.
That's right. That's right. A lot of paper out there. A lot of paper silver to control the market, manipulate the market.
Yeah.
But just print more paper. That's what I say. Forget about mining copper or mining silver or mining gold. Just print more paper.
Keep that paper flowing. Yeah. I saw a really fun meme on VIX's show today that it was a Simpson episode, I guess, or clip. And it had the, I can't remember his name, but the mean old guy inside a SLV piggy bank. And the Simpsons were all putting cash in, and it said SLV on top. And he's in there smoking up their dollars.
Oh, that's a good one. I got to see that. My family, we were just talking about the Simpsons this past week, and we're talking about all the predictions. It's crazy from the Simpsons, but I wish they could be a little bit more fine tuned and tell me when to buy and sell certain stock or it's that's funny.
Well, we'll get into current events later. I know we wanted to focus on, you said you had some solutions. Actually, government.
I hit my head on the flux capacitor again, and I'm sitting there thinking here in my library, and the wheels are turning and the gears are grinding, and I came up with something. I felt like our great grandparents and our great grandmothers and their kids and our parents, everyone has spoken from the past and have said the same thing over and over and over, and that our government has an ability to provide a solution. And this is a shock for many of you hearing me talk like this, because, well, Lisa, how I feel about government, but there's a solution here. And it's not because I'm just wearing this light baby blue sarcastic shirt sitting in a library, or that I'm some guy on a entertainment channel. No. Idea.
Info.
For our let's go down with it. Let's see what we can do here. Society is looking for a solution, and you're going to see slides just like this. They're just black and white. Tell it like it is. And it's like our great grandparents have spoken, and we need to listen to them, and all the people that came after them as well. They've spoken, and many of them have spoken even with a vote. As our parents voted, they voted for what was best, they thought was best for the country, which would be best for us, and what would be best for their grandkids, and so on and so forth. And so just black and white, I think we can all agree we got some issues, some problems to deal with, to tackle. And most of us are going to agree that we got a government size problem. We got a debt problem, of course. We have a corruption problem. There's not enough transparency. We got too many levels of government. We have too many bureaucracies. And we have too many cooks in the kitchen. It means like too many rulers in different spots. I don't know. And then we vote and we vote and we vote and we vote, and little seems to change. And these are some of the problems. And then here's another big problem. And most of you agree with this: gerrymandering. These political parties are a big problem. They create these ridiculous boundaries for their districts so they can stay in office or get the other party out of office. Like that bottom one there on the left there, it's the Texas 35th district. How can this person represent the people of Texas in the 35th district when he's got to travel hundreds of miles in this big long stretch along the Texas border? It's ridiculous, right? Texas-Mexico border. It's just ridiculous. So many of us will agree we have a lot of these problems. And they're real problems in the United States. They're American problems that we're all the states, all of us are facing these problems. It's black and white, clear as day. But Lisa, I tell you, I put my head on the flux capacitor and I came up with an idea. I have a solution for us. So it's going to sound a little crazy and far-fetched and wacky at first, but then you're going to come around and you're going to get it. You ready?
Okay. All right. I want to hear it.
All right. Our great-grandparents wanted the best for us. They wanted us always to have that wonderful Rockwell moment of our Thanksgiving dinner. They wanted us to have nice vacations on the beach and hold hands as a family unit. And they wanted us to have that fun family photo with laying on dad's back and stacked up the kids and big happy smiles. And sometimes we think solution equals less government, or the government's just upside down or backwards. It's top heavy, or it's not top heavy enough. We don't have the right people in Washington. And it's like what seems up is down and what sounds down is up. And, which way is which, we don't know. Black and white, another problem.
Okay.
Texas, $160.9 billion budget. Now, right now, before the state legislature in Texas, the budget proposal is $340 billion. Now, $340 billion, remember, in Texas, our legislature only meets every other year. So they pass a budget for 2 years. So you got to take that 340 and divide it in half.
Okay.
So it's really what? 170. All right.
Okay.
So there's 30.5 million people in Texas. That means per person, we're paying $5,275 per person in Texas for our state government, the governor and the legislators and all the rules and regulations and everything to run Texas. Okay. In Oklahoma, now, sorry, folks, I can't do everybody's state, but in Oklahoma, Lisa, I picked yours. Your budget is $12.47 billion. Okay. You have 4 million people roughly in your state, which comes out to $3,118 per person in your state. So some ways you could say Oklahoma is better run and cheaper to run per person than Texas. But is it because Texas is more complicated? We have the border of Mexico and we have the Gulf and who knows. But for whatever it is, that's a lot of money for your state. How much does your state cost? Black and white.
Yeah.
Well, I got the chalkboard out now, and I'm going to ask you, Lisa, how much could we save if we ended state governments? What? That's right. So this is what America is. America is that when you fly over America in a jet and you look down, there are no state borders. There are no state lines. It's the picture on the right that's drawn on a map with these arbitrary state borders. Maybe some of them are along a river or something like that. But for the most part, they're kind of arbitrary, But what would happen if we just ended all of those states? Now, hear me out. It's crazy. I know. I am for I am. Maybe hit his head a little too hard. But imagine that we had no states. We had no governors. We had no state legislatures and all of those costs that we're spending for those states. All we need, people, is we just need a little more centralization. And that's contrary to what I've been saying on this channel for a long time. It just so happens that I picked the colors. by accident to be like kind of like China, red and gold, yellow, whatever. But anyway, everyone wants this, Lisa. This is what we've been voting for years, years and years and years. This is why our federal government is so big. This is what our parents and our grandparents and our great grandparents have voted for, a larger and larger federal government and more centralization. It's pure fact. And we know we got too many cooks in the kitchen. So here's my proposal. Let's shrink the size of Congress. We got too
Okay.
many people in Congress.
That
All right.
doesn't sound bad.
And we got too many people in Congress that we don't like. Some of us don't like the Pelosi's, and some of us don't like, I don't know, the Massey, or take your pick on the party, or right or left or whatever. And what if we had no governors, and we had no state legislatures, and no borders, and no states? Now, I know I kind of consider myself a Texan. I'm in Texas, but what? We're all Americans, right? When it really comes down to it, America. We're Americans. So we have no state budgets anymore. So we have no state laws. Like, what's legal in your state, Lisa, may not be legal in my state, and vice versa. Well, all that confusion's gone. And no more property taxes, no more state income taxes, no more state sales taxes. None of that. It's all gone. It's more simplified. And so what we have central planners, like these fine gentlemen that I have here in this photo in front of us. They're in a quorum, they're having a decision, and it's kind of like the president's cabinet, right? And they're informed individuals that have raised to a position of power because why? Well, they've earned it. They've gathered enough wisdom and experience over the years to become maybe the Department of State, be the head of the Department of the Treasury, or the Department of the Interior. And how did they get there? Well, it's just like how our government was founded. It was founded by men that we hold dear, or many of us do, by a small group of men that were wise for their time, that they were well educated for their time. And they were so revered that some of them we put on our money. Like, here's the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and Jefferson and Washington's there, and Adams, and look at that. We put them on the back of the $2 bill even. So maybe it's, is it not time for a small group of people to run this country? Meritocracy. That's what I'm talking about. So, like the Department of Interior, let's just suppose that the person who became the Department of Interior, chief or head, that is sitting at this table, let's say that they started out, maybe they rose and became, I don't know, rose up through the ranks in the BLM, and now they're in charge of the BLM, and they do such a good job that they then get promoted to be in charge of the national parks and the national forest. And next thing you know, they've risen to the point, based off of their merit, they've risen to the top level of the being head of the Department of Interior. Now we're going to end corruption. When they're done with that, they're going to retire. They're going to get a nice paycheck from the government, till as long as they're on this earth. And that way there's no golden parachutes. They can't earn any more income outside of, doing anything else, because they already rose to the top level of power to do what's best for you and me, Lisa, or the Department of Interior, or whatever. Meritocracy. And now they can make decisions. Government can react faster, quicker when a situation comes up, because we don't have any states to mess with. And, the idea that a state was an incubator of ideas, or a laboratory, and what worked in this state may not work in that state, and people from other states could move to one state that was doing well and had more opportunity, or move to another state where they were treated better. That's what I'm talking about here. But unfortunately, with such a large federal government, really states still kind of bow down to the feds, and they answer to the feds, and they get their money a lot of times to the feds. Now, some of them put in more money to the federal government than they get back in return. But look, we have armies and Air Force and all, we have the Boeing planes and for the Air Force that are made in all these different states. Well, it's kind of ridiculous. Just meritocracy. Have them controlled by a small group of people who are the wise ones, the ones with the most experience. That's what I'm talking about. We did it right way, way back when the 12 apostles. It's the same thing. So the people have spoken, Lisa. They have, and it's like I listened to them after I hit my head on the flux capacitor. They've listened to us. The people have spoken. It's black and white, pure and true. The people have spoken, Lisa, and for everyone there in the chat, they have spoken and said, we want more central power. If they didn't, then why every year that I have been walking on this earth, and it's been a long time, I've seen nothing but the federal government grow and grow and grow, and more central power to more central power. Shoot, we have a legislature who just passes laws and are signed in by a president, but then we have agencies who create regulations which seem to be a little bit stronger than the laws that are passed by Congress. And the people have spoken. That's been going on for decades. And our parents and our grandparents, maybe not all of ours, but that's what they voted for. They've spoken. This is what they wanted. And, that's really what I wanted to say is I think I have come to the realization that this is what Americans want, because this is what Americans have received. Ask and you shall receive. I guess vote and you shall receive. They have voted for this. That's why we have such a large federal government. We have more central planning, and just kick out the middle ground, the middle management. It's kind of like Doge. Doge needs to kick out the governors and the states and the borders and just streamline it so it's just straight to the meritocracy top cabinet levels with a president, of course, and now there is an alternative plan, but in my opinion, the people have spoken. So that's what I had to say. I'm drinking my coffee now, but
well, I think there's a need for some distribution of power in there somewhere. Just a little distribution.
Lisa, are you trying to push back on something that, well, as longer than you and I have been on this planet, born into existence, the federal government grew and grew and grew. It was growing before we were born, Lisa. And it continues to grow. And I think that's why, because we've allowed it. And if we allowed it, then even subconsciously, that's what we wanted. Now, there's an alternative, but I'll go ahead and show the alternative. But it's real simple, and there's really not much to it. But I'll go ahead and then we can discount it, and we can go back to what the people are doing and continue to do
what they're allowing.
Yeah. Well, there's some say that the current track that we're on, like the railroad track here on the left, is old, beat up, and the government is inefficient, and this is why we need Doge. But Doge, you can't clean it up, and who knows where the track even leads to. But we could build parallel systems and parallel networks and support parallel builds. And when I say parallel networks, I'm not meaning like computer networks. That's kind of one way of putting it. But anything that's alternative to the government, and start building an alternative to the government. And that's what we could do. And then next thing you know, we're on a brighter future on a different track, going off to the sunset. Have a brighter tomorrow. But again, like I said, people don't seem to want this. This has been proposed for a long time. Like agorism has been around for, 20 years maybe, or the term. And people have spoken. This is what they want.
I'm pretty sure, well, a lot of the people that I know, I think, are choosing alternatives. I think that's what we're seeing with cryptocurrency. I think that's what we're seeing with homeschooling. I think that's what we're seeing with off-grid communities. I think that's what we're seeing with, a lot of these alternatives, but I could be wrong.
Lisa, I'm going to look at the chat here real quick because I bet I've converted all of these people into thinking that we don't need a governor or a state or anything like that. So let's take a look. Radar NJ says, we the people complied. No, see, we complied to a larger government. That's what we want, I guess. And the 13 months of the calendar as well. Oh, wow. There's all kinds of things going on here. I guess I don't have time to read everybody's thoughts or comments, but it sure seems like, yeah, the people have spoken, no property taxes. So they want federal government to just take it over, take control. Nothing like, nothing like China or dictatorship. We'll have a quorum of like the 12 apostles that are at the heart of the matter, the central control that will do what's best for the people. Yeah, I trust them.
You trust them.
I trust them. That's my new plan.
I mean, they've done such a great job up to this point with, the dollar value, and the Fed's doing such a great job up to this point. And why wouldn't we believe them?
You never know. This could catch on. Maybe we could have like people will start voting for the globalist plan, and who would need like country borders. Maybe that group of 12 individuals at the top of the federal government, some of them would get selected to the UN, and we'd all answer to the UN. Wow, wouldn't that be?
And then your blue shirt would be, I'm wearing a blue shirt as well.
Wow.
See, we're all already in the plan.
You're already part of it.
We all wear blue shirts.
Yes.
That's little helmets, whatever.
To the UN.
Yeah, to the UN. We all become part of the plan.
So, Lisa, what are these trifle, tiny, small, piddly-ass problems and things that are happening in the world today that seem to be a nuisance that our Council of 12 at the Washington, D.C. would be able to resolve quickly?
Just the most recent ones, you mean?
Sure.
Well, I guess the most recent ones would be that, they found that Democrats gave millions of illegals Social Security numbers.
Yeah.
Yes. Not only so that they could have access to Medicaid, that they did not pay into, but that they were taking advantage of and using, but so that they could, they qualified them for maximum Social Security benefits, and they voted. They registered.
That's what I'm getting ready to say. They're ahead of us.
Yes.
They're ahead of the line. They skipped in front of the line. They got ahead of all of us. We're paying for them. And wow.
Yeah.
So
they didn't pay in. They skipped the line. They're receiving full benefits, and they are voting. Yes.
Wow. So see, maybe our central planners would eliminate the need for voting, because we would know that that Council of 12 at the top wouldn't need to be voted in, because they'd earn those positions based on merit. And we just know that they're going to act on our best behalf. And these people coming into our country, well, who needs a country? If we just eliminated state borders, we could eliminate, country borders. And so, yeah.
And where would the money come from? Because then there's no borders. So then everyone would have to pay in. There wouldn't be illegals then.
Right. See, we solved the illegal.
Would be illegal.
Right? We just solved it. We solved it, Lisa. You and I.
Okay.
There are no more illegals because there is no border.
So then no one's paying in, but then everyone's getting money. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's so
So
confusing
logical.
to me.
This gentleman, I watched him that speech there that he gave. He's
Yeah.
from Spain, his family's from Spain, talking about that, and they voted.
hmm Yeah, they said they found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid. And this group, this 5.5 million people in the other benefit programs. And then they said they found them by sampling that they actually did vote.
You know, well, Lisa, as you know, and a lot of the audience knows, I'm an actual bona fide emperor of Din Social, voted elected as the emperor of Din.social.
Mhm.
And back in the day, the Romans, it was such an honor to be a Roman citizen that it was held in regard, and it was something that, wow, that person's a Roman citizen. And in our lives today, the sanctity of life has been lost, which is tragic and sad.
Mhm.
And so has the idea and the pedestal of citizenship, shall we say. We've put citizenship, we had it on a pedestal, rightly so, that you wanted to protect it. You didn't want to have a felony so you could no longer vote. You know what I mean? All these different things. So the idea of citizen being a good citizen, and
Mhm.
or wanting to go to a country and become a citizen of that country was such a goal, an aspiration, or a dream. And it gets cheapened when you hear these things, that they're
Yeah.
just like passed out like nothing, you know?
Yeah.
It really is.
Quite literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna try to jump to where the slide was showing the numbers, but maybe it was more at the front.
Yeah. I think it was at the front with those graphs. So it's kind of hard to
We
see
saw
that.
these numbers. We're like, what is this?
Yeah.
In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister are all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed this in this direction. I want to honor them right now, that work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on. Yeah. So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people. Very good people. I have been from DC to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case. You'll get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo, and I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, a notice to appear, which to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people. Okay, so what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum through one of these pathways, and we map the whole thing out, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview, no ID.
This is worth just reiterating.
Crazy.
It's not that.
No interview, no ID.
Think that
No interview, no automatically sends you a social security number in the mail. Why would they do that unless it benefits someone?
Yep.
Or multiple.
Lisa, you and I should vote harder. We should have gone out of the country, came back in, and got a new social security number, a second one, a second ID, and we could have voted twice.
I might have been able to get free benefits.
Yeah.
All those free benefits. Maybe I could have health care for free and get start that social security on the free account that I haven't paid into yet, instead of the one that I've been paying for
That's
years
right.
since I
That's
was
right.
14.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you get caught, you just play your real citizenship card, and the other citizen, is
Goes
eliminated.
away.
Yeah.
That might
Makes
work.
sense.
That
Makes
might
sense.
work.
No, it's disgusting. It really is. It really is. It's part of the corrupt system. Bottom line, that's what it is. It's corruption. It's
Just,
corrupt, and it's disgusting.
it is disgusting, literally. So that was one of the things.
What was the one about Trump being president till 37? I didn't see that.
Okay, so I posted this on Facebook just to freak the normies out.
Oh, good.
Just to get the kind of reaction that I did. But then I started seeing more and more, and there's actually several. He's been asked multiple times by media now, and so there's been multiple responses, and there's been lots of people talking about it. And
He'd
so,
be in his 90s then, right?
yeah. Well, there's also a Simpson episode that shows him perpetually being President Trump. They like show his hair turning white, and they show him like the years going and going and going. So I don't know what that means, unless that's somehow associated with the COG thing, or the presidency does go away and he's just perpetually commander in chief. I mean, I can't even fathom. I don't know what's happening. But they there's one interview where he says, I don't know if I shared all of them on my Twitter feed. There's one interview where he says, like, I don't know what they're talking about. And he says,
Is it that gentleman above that, I think? That one?
the one with Gene Ho talking about it, or this one where he says,
Oh, that was, that one he's talking about different things. Yeah, the
this one
$5,000 check.
this one he's talking about, like, this is like the COG.
Right.
This is like the military action one. And
Right.
I follow along with the majority of this until he says a date.
Yeah,
towards the
which
end of
was
it.
March 5th.
Yeah. And then I'm like, no.
It's come and gone.
Yeah, because I think we're into the April 1st thing, the April 2nd thing. But I mostly go along with the majority of this video. But that's me personally. But there were, let's see, I don't know that I shared any of the.
Oh, that was the Texas budget.
Yeah, I did the Texas budget thing. This was a good one too. Yeah, here's this.
About a third term, about possibly wanting a third term. Does that mean you're not planning to leave office on January?
I'm not looking at that, but I'll tell you, I have had 4 people ask me to have a third term, which is, in a way, it's 4th term, because the other election, the 2020 election was totally rigged. So it's actually sort of a 4th term in a certain way. I just don't want the credit for the second, because Biden was so bad. He did such a bad job. And I think that's one of the reasons that I'm popular. They want to.
So in a way, it would be a 4th term because Biden was so bad, because
Right.
2020 was stolen. So but he said, I haven't even thought about it. Other people are saying this. Why?
And what that is that's trying to get the normies to freak out and say,
Yes.
okay, he's not going to step down at the end of his presidency.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's going to become a dictator. That's the whole purpose of that.
Yes.
And this is where, why wouldn't why would Trump egg that on? Why wouldn't he just state the Constitution and just say, hey, no, this is it?
Because let
You
them
know?
freak out. Let them freak out about all the what ifs. It's a distraction, you
Mhm.
know. Well, and the other big thing is that they're, jailing. Well, I guess she's being 2 years house arrest or whatever, but she's not able to run for 5 years. They took out Le Pen
Yeah.
in France. That's huge.
Just like Romania, the same thing with Romania.
Okay.
Yeah. The Romanian president was elected. He won. But he was, a populist and to the right, and the EU didn't accept it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And then they're saying like, okay, and then Trump is saying, I guess they're saying like France is now threatening to like enter Ukraine, and he's saying like, well, be very careful.
Well, this is my opinion, just for what it's worth. I don't want to even be a part of that whole
No.
thing. Let Europe fight it out if that's what they want. I don't want to even be part of NATO. I don't want our boys to go over there and fight.
Absolutely.
Kudos to Trump if he can bring us peace. I
That's
don't like the saber rattling with Iran or with China. Just want peace. Bring everybody home and move those bases closer to home and protect our own shores.
Absolutely.
We got enough here. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But
this was huge. The rinse and repeat on the mortgage fraud.
Yes.
And Japan's facing a huge crisis that we should see April 1st. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't wake up and see that their markets crash April 1st. We are right behind them with this. So this is
stay up late enough and you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, I truly believe this. And this is us being right behind. In 2008, this is a rinse and repeat. This is the Fannie and Freddie FHA. So this is in 2023, they said these fraudulent borrowers performed substantially worse than similarly declared investors, defaulting at a 75% higher rate. Listen to this. They mortgage borrowers claim on a new purchase mortgage application that they will be the owner applicants of the property, but do not move from their old address and consequentially, hold multiple first liens as recorded in the credit bureau data. So we argue that the fraudulent purchases that we identify are very likely to be investors, and that accounting for fraud increases the size and effective of investor population by nearly 50%. They're talking about a 75% default rate.
Right, for those group of home buyers. And but it was hidden. The Federal Reserve hid this and also like essentially refinanced it internally. Or made it look like the housing wasn't as big a problem as it is. Yeah, it's been they were trying to hide this. They didn't want this to come out during the election.
House prices. Yeah. It's all, but that's all going to come out.
Oh yeah.
There's no way that's going to.
It's the law of economics. The law of economics is a good example of this. Eventually, it wins. It always rears its head. You can't hide the numbers long enough. Eventually they're found, and then people will dig into it and it'll expose it even more. Yeah, it's horrible. And I think more and more people are going to learn that their school districts are bankrupt, and what they've been doing is they've been taking out a new bond and getting the public to vote in another bond after another school bond, and again and again and again. And what they're doing is they're literally using these bonds to pay the interest on the old bonds, and they're robbing Peter to pay Paul with a series of bonds. And when you start to go digging in there and trying to untangle these bonds, it becomes very difficult. You would think it'd be real simple to go to a school district's budget and say, show me all your bonds and all the payments you're making on these bonds for the interest rates and this kind of thing. Now show me all the money on the new bond and where that money came from. If that new bond was for, I don't know, new roofs on all the school buildings. You know, show me that all that money went to new roofs and none of that got into some kind of slush fund and jungled and mingled, and some of it went off to interest payments to other bonds. It becomes such a web. It's difficult to untangle, and it takes a forensic accountant, but then they won't let that kind of deep audit to happen. Why? Because they're hiding their bankrupt. And this is another reason why property taxes are done fraudulently now, because property values are fraudulent. They keep pumping property values up and up and up so that the property tax level goes up, and then they can get more money. And it should be a natural process. Property values are assessed, and it's called a CAD, which is a Central Appraisal District. They're supposed to use their tools and their protocols to determine the value of a home or houses in a group, and not have the school district say, hey, psst, Lisa, I need it to go up by 6% this year.
Right.
So our property taxes go up by 6%. Okay. And then they fudge the numbers, and now the property's values went up 6%. Property taxes go up 6%. The school district squeak by another year. It's sickening.
Well, so Florida, DeSantis is pushing to end property taxes, which is a huge and good job on him. That should be for everyone, you know. There's one more thing. Well, there's a couple more things, but at least this thing I wanted to get in today. You know, a lot of us watch a future forecasting group, Dick Allgaier and the guys there. And this reminded me of that remote viewing work of course, puking in the halls. But I guess Doge is talking about bringing Pelosi's, you know, looking at all of their net worth.
Right.
And Elon announces that they're going to investigate Congress.
Where
I hope.
I'm trying to connect.
I don't
the
know.
dots of
You know,
how did they become
Well,
rich?
who's going to get
Well,
locked up? Oh, what was the thing
I
that
think at 20
supposedly now
million,
Doge
they're
has
earning
authority to lock
200,000 a
up
year.
people? Is that true?
What?
That's still got to go through the Department of Justice.
It's-
No,
I
it's
just-
going to go
I
through
think that's
this.
Nobody
a
Yeah.
little
explained that.
gray to me.
So,
Yeah.
so
Well,
someone's-
they
yeah,
did say
we're going to try to figure it out. And
there was a thing on that they referred. So on the Social Security thing, like they did refer the people that voted to, I think it was DOJ. They referred them to whoever it is to take action and arrest them. So the people that voted illegally. So if those arrests actually happen, then that will be, you know, wonderful.
Maybe so.
Because, you know, that's interference in our elections. That's
Yeah, it's true.
wrong.
I keep telling people elections, the voting needs to be on blockchain, or at the minimum, just keep it on paper. But
Yeah.
until a vote can be accounted for, verified, validated, and I can see all the totals are correct, which a blockchain can do, and it can't be altered or changed. Well, we have the technology. It's the powers to be that don't want it to happen that way.
Yeah. They don't want
Lisa,
the accountability. Yeah.
I'm telling you, just wipe out all the states and the borders and lines, and let's just go to those trusted core group of individuals that will work on the best behalf of all of the people, because they rose by merit to that position of power, and that's what we've been voting for all along. And if you still have doubts, look at last week. Remember this one last week? I hereby grant myself the absolute moral right to steal your stuff. Wow, was I crazy? That was last week's show, right?
Yeah, that was last week's show.
I guess this week
How'd
I'm
that
just
work out
crazy.
for you?
I just haven't showed up at everybody's home yet.
Okay.
Just keep your stuff out. You never know when I might show up like Santa
haven't made
Claus
all your rounds yet.
for my Christmas.
Oh man. All right. You are the
Thank
best.
you.
I love
Thank
it.
you so much, Lisa. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
And
You're
everyone out there in the chat, like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
Oh,
and thank you guys.
and check out din.social, and I guess you could probably find me on X too. So,
Absolutely. And there is information to find Emperor William, I am for I am, in the description below. There's also a link to the Mighty Lair at din.social. So join us over there as well. We'll see you guys next time here on The New Normal. Take care.